ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. This is East Coast Sports Investors Breakfast Bankroll. It has been a while since, as if you saw me yesterday on the Midday Market Report, been a while since I've been on either of these shows, so my muscle memory for the closing bell is trying to kick in, but I'm fighting that off here. But wanted to get on and do a quick 15, 20-minute show this morning to get us geared up for everything Saturday afternoon and evening as far as the March Madness tournament is concerned. Voice had a lot of fun watching some games yesterday, so Voice is in just minor recovery. I had some friends watching the game, so we were getting rowdy, screaming for some of these games because last night was a lot of fun. The entire afternoon and evening was a lot of fun. Obviously, a couple clunkers in there. But before we get into today, really happy to talk about some of these games from last night. Personally, from a betting standpoint, decent day, just a little over break even for myself for my original bracket. It's kind of in shambles for the most part. Got 3 Final Four teams, I think 6 Elite 8 teams. So kind of need to go perfect from those areas to give myself a chance in all my pools and whatnot. But I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat. But I know there's some people having some success. There's obviously not anything massively insane that's gone on just yet. Just a couple big upsets there. But want to give a shout out to our partner WagerWire. They are a very, very good resource to make you a smarter, better, and give you plenty more options. So go and download their WagerWire app. Go check them out on X, and they will be very happy to share some information with you. Jeff and Travis Geiger, they're one of their guys over there at WagerWire, have some informational shows where they kind of talk about what's going on in the sports world, but also talk about what WagerWire can do for you. So go and check them out as soon as you can, because it is going to make you like I said, not only a smarter, better, but I like to say more resourceful better and give you some more options there. So outside of college basketball world, I don't know what to tell you. I have these are the few days where I kind of shut out the NBA and some of the other action that's going on here. I know there's some UFC tonight, 1 or 2 decent fights, but nothing that really needs to break the attention away from March. I know Thug Rose is on the in the octagon tonight, so maybe that's the only one that I might check out. But aside from that, yesterday in March Madness, yesterday we talked about Thursday games and previewed Friday games. Now looking at Friday's games and looking ahead to Saturday and potentially even Sunday games. Northwestern, we started yesterday's show right as Northwestern FAU was getting going. Northwestern in overtime. No sweat at all. Obviously, sweating very much so at the end of regulation there. But Northwestern still takes down the under. I can't remember if I mentioned the under or not on the show yesterday, but gets under by the hook, stay in overtime despite everything going on there. I think I mentioned I was slightly interested in Colgate just because I'm not as big of a Baylor believer this year. Baylor beats the doors off of Colgate. Not much of a sweat on that one for Baylor. UAB takes the cover there. I was a little hesitant on San Diego State, and I think I was interested in the under as well. Their under at 140 comes in by 5-6 points, I want to say there. So congrats if you had the under or UAB. Or obviously any San Diego State advancing in your pools and whatnot. Marquette takes care of business. I think I was kind of off of that one. Didn't have strong thoughts. Clemson was the one. I liked Clemson as the 1-6 seed to kind of buck the trend of the 11s over 6s. Despite Clemson as the underdog, they really took it to them. I think I might have said I was interested in the over in that one. The under comes in pretty easily. Watching New Mexico's offense yesterday, at least in the second half especially, was a tough watch. One of the tougher watches outside of maybe a couple of the 16 seeds. Because if you're rooting for some points, rooting for the over, I mean, not only could they not hit the broadside of a barn, the urgency down, somewhere around 20 with 10 minutes or so. It was as if it was a tie game or they were up by 5 trying to kill the clock. So head scratching on that one as far as their urgency, but obviously didn't have the firepower to come back from something like that. UConn blows the doors off of Stetson. That one was no doubt. Auburn loses their third leading scorer with a nice elbow to the gut of I can't remember on Yale who he elbowed, but and then a quick exit, no argument, straight to the locker room. I don't know that I've ever seen someone get ejected and take it so willingly. But you never know how much that affects the game. But obviously, one of their leading scorers, really solid defender, and they lose to Yale by 2. So that one obviously hurts for a lot of people. That one, for anyone who had Auburn as a dark horse, I didn't have them advancing into my Final Four or anything personally, but that's a tough one for a lot of people. And gives some of the teams in that bracket, because that's obviously a very, very tough bracket with UConn, Illinois. I'm drawing a blank on who their I think Iowa State. Takes out one of the contenders of that region, so it makes that one a little bit easier there. Colorado, Florida, one of the better finishes to yesterday's games. I was interested in Florida, had them winning a couple games this week, so that was a tough one, but that was a really fun finish there. And flying over in regulation, 202 on a 158 total. Nebraska was another one that I was interested in. But obviously couldn't get it done there. Did not have as much firepower in that one as you might have expected in Texas A&M. Their Nebraska defense was a no-show. Another high-scoring game there. Let's see what else. Alabama, Charleston. Charleston actually made a little bit of a run for the money on the cover there. I know I was a little wishy-washy on the Alabama and Charleston side of things there on the spread, but Alabama showed up and did what Alabama does. And the total, despite it being a 172, 173, whatever it finished at, goes flying over as well. So Alabama is a Jekyll and Hyde team. They are going to be interested to see going forward here how they play out and where they go. Obviously got to have a tough one again tomorrow. So, and then the last 3, we got some upsets. All 3 of the final games upsets, and really not that close of games. Grand Canyon and St. Mary's. James Madison kind of controlled the entire time. Same thing with Utah State. So. I don't know how many upsets we're going to see today, but that was if you had some upset money on these last 3 games, you obviously were feeling good about yourself. Wisconsin was one I did expect Wisconsin to come through. Like I kind of said it all season long. This is a huge season for Greg Gard. I think the success he had was enough to keep him, give his job another season for sure here, but kind of goes into it with another, need to show us that you can stay here and belong and take us deeper than the first weekend of the tournament, let alone the first couple of days. So interested to see where Wisconsin goes into the future. They've got, some guys coming back, some guys leaving. So that's going to be an interesting one just from a Big Ten standpoint there. So, like I said, Grand Canyon, that one was the latest one. I think I might not have made it through the entire one there. Yeah. So love the dogs yesterday. So we had some fun, but moving on into today, what else do we got? I think we're a little later starting today, so we got some standalone games the first couple of rounds. Dayton and Arizona is the first one that kicks it off. 9-point spread for the Wildcats there. So I don't know what to make out of this one. Arizona is obviously a team that is talented enough to make a deep run at this one, but you obviously have a situation where they've shown that they can kind of fall apart at any moment here. So Dayton, I think the one thing that gives me confidence with Arizona is that Dayton has not looked that great their last couple of games, whether that be Duquesne in their tournament, putting up a 57 spot and not really showing up offensively. And for 35 minutes of that game against Nevada, I guess I don't remember what point they came back, but 35 minutes against that game or so against Nevada, and their offense is anemic as well there. So I am kind of leaning towards Arizona to take care of business here. I don't know if I want them to cover. This one is a tough one for me, but I'm going to lean towards the under 150 just because I don't think Dayton's offense is going to show up again here today. So I'm going under 150 on this one. That is my lean on this one, but nothing that I'm over the moon with at all on that one. I know Gonzaga and Kansas, a lot of people, this is a tough one because you have 2 teams that not a ton of people are believing in, not the best versions of their coaches' teams here in this situation, Gonzaga and Kansas. I think Gonzaga obviously looked a lot better than Kansas did the other day. So Kansas is going to have to come in with some urgency. I think they understand that if they play the same way, they're going to get the doors beat off of them, like they almost did by old Sanford there. Gonzaga does seem to be a little bit of that kind of public trendy favorite pick today, though, and no one's really believing in Kansas. So I'm kind of on that same side of believing in Gonzaga, but It's a Kansas program that, there's been plenty of points in Bill Self-Sarah where they throw a clunker like they essentially did, especially at least on defense. They have not been very good defensively lately, and I think they know that. So I think this one is going to be a closer game than people are expecting. It's another one where I'm kind of leaning towards I'm kind of leaning towards the under because I'm leaning on Kansas defense to show up a little bit here. So I'll still say Gonzaga wins it. But I'm kind of beware on this one with how much I'm seeing a lot of love for Gonzaga today. So I'm going to go the under 152. Some of these high-scoring games from yesterday is kind of boosting these numbers and the perception of some of these games up a little bit. So I'm going to pump the brakes and go under on this game as well. And I'm giving Kansas a chance despite what everyone else is saying about this game today. Another one that's an interesting one to talk about, obviously, Michigan State, UNC. Either you're loving the one seed in this situation, or you're believing in Tom Izzo and the man that is March Madness himself. So I don't know where I stand on this one. The only interesting part about this one is UNC's still getting a lot of the public love in a lot of situations, and you have a 3.5, 4-point line as compared to these other. Just looking at it directly in this type of comparison, 2 versus 7 games, 2 situations where the 2 is 6.5 point favorites over a 7 seed. So, in my opinion, that one raises my eyebrows a little bit as to why this one's so close. But if this was Mississippi State instead of Michigan State, and you didn't have all these narratives of Tom Izzo and whatnot, and this was a 3.5, 4, then I'd probably be all over Mississippi State. But it is Michigan State, and it's still a decent-sized brand, and it's still Tom Izzo. So as much as it's not as glaring as a situation like I was talking about there, it is still one that I'm interested in. And I've had Michigan State kind of circled as a team that, not complete team, obviously have had their flaws, but it's a team that can break through and go on a little bit of a run here. So the next thing you know, you're going to see UNC winning this one by 20, and Michigan State's going to show all their issues. Obviously, the biggest thing that they have going for them is that it's in Charlotte, North Carolina, so that's obviously going to be a home crowd for them. But another reason as to why is this one 3.5, 4 with the 1 versus 9 game here. So I am going to pump the brakes on UNC, and I am going to be going to Michigan State myself on this one. Obviously, I'm the Big Ten guy over here, but a few too many red flags for UNC in this situation. He did take care of Wagner pretty well there, but at the end of the day, I am leaning on Michigan State and believing in them to break through a lot of their. They've had some tough losses. A lot of their road situations have not been great, but on a neutral floor, I think they'll be okay today. So that is the last one that I've got, I think, strong thoughts on, aside from maybe the late one here. But like I said, these 2 versus 7 games, I think you could have a situation where one of the favorites takes care of business. I'm talking Iowa State, Washington State, and the other 2-7 game is Texas, Tennessee. One of these 6.5s should handle business pretty well. The other one might have a tough kind of a coin flip game, if you will, here. So I don't know if you want to couple the two like that together. I typically do when you have a situation that's very similar. Obviously, the total and the game style is going to be different, but a 2 versus 7 and an identical 6.5 is a decent way to look at it there. So I am kind of leaning on Tennessee to be that team that shows up and flex their muscles a little bit. Texas looked, I think a lot of people thought Texas looked really good. Their defense did play really well. Offensively, it was not a great showing from Texas. Colorado State played great defense, just couldn't put the ball in the basket for 40 minutes essentially there. So I am going to lean on Tennessee to run up the score. Maybe not run up the score, but have plenty of offense for their own liking today, and Texas not being able to keep up with it quite there. So I'm going to lean on Tennessee being the one that covers that situation. And I'm not saying Iowa State loses necessarily, but I think that one could be a close game and a close, scrappy game. I like the under in that one, 129. Iowa State maybe making that one kind of a gross, muddy, muck-it-up game with the way they can play on defense there. They just went over 135.5. Now you're down to 129. I think this one's going to stay under. So I do like the under more in this one. But I do think Washington State has a chance of keeping this one close and kind of make them or an Iowa State keep making it ugly, but not running away with it there. So I might even say Iowa State still manages to win, but maybe only by 2, 3, 4 points or something like that. So give me the under though, a little more confidently. And then 2 games left, Oakland and NC State. I don't really know what to make out of this one. At some point, Oakland is going to come back down to earth. Whether it's today, if they win today, it's going to be next week. You could say the same thing about NC State in these games as well. They've obviously been on a hot streak, a hot run. It feels like we've seen some of these teams that are, kind of on the, outside of the bubble, but still not a bad team, go on a nice run and win their conference tournament. They typically still win a few games. in March here. So I'm going to go and say NC State wins this one and Oakland comes back down to earth. But from a story standpoint, I do hope Oakland catches fire in and hits 10 threes again. Or Golke or whatever his name is, hits 10 threes again. But I do think Oakland comes back down to earth a little bit today, and NC State handles business. But it's probably the least confidence I have in any of these games on the entire slate today. Last one up, though, a team that I have had some confidence in. However, Creighton could show up and look fantastic. But Creighton and Oregon plus 4.5-point dogs on the spread there. And I've just been kind of believing in this Oregon team. Another one that's 4.5 with an 11 seed is pretty eye-opening. Oregon was favored in their last game as the 11 seed against South Carolina there. So for me, this is just the classic Pac-12 team that you barely look at the entire season long. You probably barely look at the Pac-12 other than the top couple of teams. And then the next thing you know, you got a 9, 10, 11 Pac-12 seeded team making a deep run in this tournament. I do think they have a great chance of winning this game. They've had some tough luck to get them to where they were record-wise this season. So I'm leaning on Oregon today. This was kind of a preconceived pick as far as Oregon making a nice run getting through South Carolina and Creighton, and even given I'm drawing a blank on who they play next, but even given whoever they're playing next to run for their money. So give me Oregon on the spread on this one. The total is a little high. I think this one could be one of your highest scoring games. Creighton went under with Akron. Oregon went over with South Carolina. I think this one could be one of your higher scoring games of the day, kind of like we saw with a couple of these games yesterday. So give me Oregon in the over. But I'm going finishing the night strong with the dog out of that one. So that about does it for today's slate. We won't dive too deep into tomorrow's slate, but just to give you, if you haven't seen some of these lines, just to give you an idea there. Marquette only 3.5-point favorites against Colorado. Purdue 11.5-point favorites against Utah State. Utah State looked great against TCU last night. Duke against the Dukes 7.5-point favorites. Baylor 4.5-point favorites against Clemson. I think that one for me is another one where, like I told you, I'm not as big of a Baylor believer this year, and I kind of am a Clemson believer. So you're probably going to see me with Clemson on my card. Alabama -6 against Grand Canyon could be a good one. Another high total, obviously, there. UConn 14.5-point favorites against Northwestern. That one, if Northwestern wants any chance, I think Boo Booey's going to have to score about 40, which he can. But obviously that's a tough sledding situation there for Northwestern against UConn. But Boo Booey's going to have to be a hero if Northwestern wants any hope out of that one. Houston 10.5-point favorites against Texas A&M. I think Houston wins that one, but Texas A&M is a tough team. That one could be a tough matchup for them there. And then San Diego State with Yale to end the night, 5.5-point favorites. So. Might be time for Yale to come back down to earth a little bit there, and in my own opinion there. So I might be leaning San Diego State, but that's 36 hours away from now. So without further ado, I will go ahead and get on out of here. A couple hours till game time, so got in and out in plenty of time before we have to watch some games today, or get to watch some games obviously today. Actually, the only one I didn't. I do this every single goddamn time. Excuse my language there, because Illinois is on my favorite teams list. I scroll right past them because they're at the top of my screen, but not in chronological. Illinois is 10-point favorites today against Duquesne. That is the one that I forgot today. I'm a little bit of a homer with that one. I am optimistic because Illinois is going to have some urgency to get to the Sweet 16. It's been almost 20 years since they've been to the damn Sweet 16. Brad Underwood has had some great teams and has not yet been able to get through the second round here. So I do think Illinois is going to have some urgency to get that done for the program and for him. And they kind of avoided what could have been a tough matchup in BYU there. So I don't think they care about that. But for all intents and purposes, I think this is a decent matchup for them. If they've had a lot of issues showing up as much in the first half here, I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. But they've been a great team that can come back and pour it on in the second half, whether it's come back or distance themselves. So I will lean on them taking care of business and covering, but I at least kind of expect them to win this one at the minimum there. So apologies for skipping over that one, but obviously had to get that one in before we get on out of here. And outside of that, like I said, not really paying attention to too much else other than the NCAA tournament, my friends. UFC, like I said, you've got Thug Rose tonight, so that should be a good one. So if you need something extra late tonight, if the tournaments are over, that's not a bad one to watch. Same thing with the co-main event. But I don't have strong thoughts on it, so I won't try and blabber about it. Same thing with the NBA today. Taking a break here these certainly this week, probably next week as well. So I won't have too much thoughts on that. But aside from that, I really hope everyone's having some fun the first 2 days of the tournament, not in too much deep water with any losses. I hope it's been a good week so far for you because we got a couple more good days and a couple more good nights here. So I'm hoping we all have some fun and are able to cash some bets on all ends of things, my end of thing, your end of thing, and we all are happy on Monday morning and not have the March Madness hangover with empty pockets. We got full pockets is what I'm hoping for. So I will go ahead and get on out of here. I don't know. I don't think we'll have anything tomorrow. So I think we'll be on Twitter giving our thoughts for tomorrow's slate, the 8 games tomorrow, and then I believe we'll be on Monday to give some full recaps and see where we are with some futures going into the Sweet 16 round. So definitely check us out next week, and we'll obviously have some more shows going on about March Madness. So thank you all for stopping by. I want to give another shout out to WagerWire here for being a great partner to us. Go and download their app on WagerWire. And certainly go ahead and follow them on X and reach out to them because they are very responsive and very helpful if you have any questions. So I am going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you all for stopping by. It's been a fun 20, 25 minutes or so. Nice and short and sweet here to get us started Saturday morning. And best of luck on everything you got going on, my friends. Hope it's a great day for you.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.